so we didn't have one either. You know, we had a lot of guys that made a lot of improvement this spring. We're still focusing on more and more guys knowing what it takes to win. You know, the kind of preparation, ability to adjust, play with poise, execute and do their job. And you know, none of that stuff really happens by accident. It happens because of the way you prepare, the way you work. And we'll look and see how many guys have made progress in that regard. I think this game today was a bit of a final exam for some of the players relative to spring practice. How much did you improve? Where are you in your development? Are you ready to take responsibility for a role on the team? And, you know, we have a lot of good players that have played and have experience and have proven that they can do that. But every year, your team is a different personality. You know, the guys that were leaders last year are gone. New guys have to assume different roles. Sometimes that's a little bit uncomfortable because they never had to do it before because there was somebody else there to do it. So all those things are the reason that, you know, being a coach in a college where you have seniors graduate every year is always a challenging situation to develop, you know, the team chemistry, the positive energy and attitude, and get people committed to doing things the way they need to do them, to be responsible for their own self-determination, and to do the kind of work that it takes to get ready to assume that responsibility. So everybody's got to take ownership for that individually, whether it's leadership, ability to execute, new player, making a contribution. So, you know, that's been the challenge for us this spring. We certainly made some progress toward that, and we'll evaluate this game and see if some other guys didn't step up and do that. So we were pleased with the spring that we had, not satisfied, just pleased. And we'll continue to work over the summer, and hopefully guys will make a commitment to the kind of work that they can improve on and be better players in the fall. I think Phil did a good job, but I mean, Phil's not 100%. And, you know, he's got a strained muscle in his shoulder. It's limited his practice time. It's limited his scrimmage time. I thought he looked a little rusty in the beginning, but definitely played a little better in the third quarter, made some big plays. And, you know, that's good. So we're hoping that he'll be able to heal up now. We'll be able to give him the rest that he needs from throwing the ball so that we can get him healed up and he'll be able to make the progress in the future that he needs to continue to improve. How good is this team? I don't know. I think it's kind of up to this team. I think it's kind of up to a lot of players on this team, a lot of players that have opportunities that haven't played much before. You know, we certainly don't have the maturity as a team that we had a year ago or that we had 3 years ago, but there's certainly enough players on this team that we could develop into a pretty good team. So I think what you just asked me is up to every individual on this team in terms of the choices and decisions that they make, in terms of what they do from a commitment standpoint to make themselves better competitors and more consistent performers. You know, Dion has had a really good spring. He's a really good cover guy. I think sometimes he's not sure exactly what he's doing. You know, we definitely need to get him to be a little more physical and run support and some of those things, but I think he's going to be a good player. John had a good spring. You know, starting to show that he's more confident in what he's doing and knows what to do out there, and now it's just a matter of doing it with some kind of consistency. But I didn't think they did anything particularly bad today. I know John gave up one big play, wasn't in bad position. It was a well-thrown, caught ball, but I didn't see anything glaring from either one of them. You know, he played good, and he's played really well all spring. And, you know, him and Amari Cooper have probably been the two freshmen that have sort of shown that they have ability and can make plays and could be contributors. But again, it's their maturity and how they can manage the role that they're in. And, you know, TJ did a good job in all the scrimmages. And, you know, he was the difference in the game for his team. And, you know, made a lot of good plays today and had a lot of production. And, you know, I think that's important for us because we needed somebody like that. He has a really good opportunity. Eddie hopefully will be able to come back, and Jolston can do certain things. Steve Hart can do certain things, and you know TJ's kind of one of those guys that can do do everything. He's a good runner, he's got some power, he's got some speed, he's a really good receiver, so hopefully he'll continue to mature and have a pretty significant role in helping our offense next year. Denny played like he always plays. You know, he's much more confident now. He never played defensive back before. We're trying to make him a defensive back. And he's a great special teams player last year. And then he's one of them ball hawk guys, man. He plays hard and he's always around the ball. He's a great competitor. And now he's channeling a lot of that energy, you know, in the right direction and doing the right things. And his performance and production has been pretty consistent all spring. Well, you know, he already had got one of the most improved player awards before he ever punted a day, so he's really punted better all spring. And, you know, we always felt like Cody really had the ability to do it. It was just consistency, and whether it was drop or long steps or whatever, and I just think that, you know, he's a little more, has a little more maturity about duplicating what he does over and over again. I'd say punting and kicking is a lot like golf, you know, and I play 5 holes very well and hit it straight, and then I start hooking it or slicing it because I can't stay in that sort of always wanting to do it a little better, hit a little further, hit a little harder. Well, that's what those guys got to overcome too, because they get out of rhythm, they get out of sync, they start shanking them, dropping them inside, and that's always been his problem. But I think now he's been in a place all spring where his consistency has been much better. He seems to be a lot more confident in what he's doing and has done a really good job. Maybe some things new, we may do some things different. We have different players. On offense, you have to utilize the players that you have in different ways. You know, Brad Smelly was a very productive guy at H-back last year for us. Very good receiver. Well, we don't necessarily have a guy like that. We're trying to develop Mike Callaway and to be somebody like that maybe in the future. But with the backs that we have, maybe somebody else fits in that role better. You know, same thing when we go 3 wideouts and a tight end. You know, Brad Smelly was always that 4th kind of mismatch guy that everybody had to deal with. Well, we don't really have that guy this year. So is there some other way that we would play with different personnel to utilize what they do? I mean, I think those are more the way we'll adapt our offense to our personnel. And Doug has got some new ideas about things that he likes to do, and I like those ideas, and, you know, we'll do some of those things a little bit, you know, differently. Well, you know, I think initially our players did a great job of contributing to supporting the people in the community that support them by some of the things that they did to try to help in the community. And I think that as time goes on, every time there's a football game, every time there's a graduation, every time we have an A-Day, you know, it brings things closer and closer to being normal, at least for how people approach their life. I mean, there's no question there's still a lot of people that have a lot to overcome in terms of what they lost, and, you know, our efforts continue to try to support those people. I think what our team accomplished last year, at least psychologically, probably benefited in a way that it made a lot of people happy, even though that they had, you know, a lot of difficult circumstances to overcome in their life. So I think sports can do that, and hopefully, you know, there's a lot of people that have a lot of pride in the University of Alabama, where they're former players that have pride in what they did while they were here, in whatever sport that they played. And we certainly want to play our game in a way that everybody can have pride in the way we do that. And if that is helpful to healing our community, you know, that's certainly a way that we'd like to be responsible to try to help it and continually do it on a personal day-to-day level as well. Well, this is my 3rd trip to the White House, and it's always something that you really look forward to. We don't get many opportunities to meet the president, spend a minute with him, talk to him a minute, have him acknowledge something that you accomplished. I think it's something that's really special for the players. It's a unique experience for them. I think we also try to take a little time to let them experience a little bit of, you know, Washington, D.C., whether it's, you know, the Martin Luther King Memorial or some of the war memorials at the Washington Monument. We try to pick different things. I think we're going to try to go to Arlington National cemetery and see the, you know, changing of the guard. And so every year we've gone, we've tried to do something a little bit different to expose the players to something historic that they may or may not be interested in, but I still think that when I was a kid, I was a patrol boy. Everybody knows what a patrol boy is, right? You hold the flag out so people can cross the street when you go to school. Well, for being a patrol boy, you got to go to Washington, D.C. every year. We went on a train. And it was only about 4 hours, you know, over the mountain to get to D.C. And some of those experiences, seeing all those things there, are things that I remember from being a kid. And even though some of our guys act like they're not really interested, I think they remember all those things, and they are historic. So, you know, we're going to expose them to them, and hopefully they'll enjoy themselves, but I know they'll enjoy their experience of having the opportunity to see the White House, go to the White House, and especially meet the President.